Hope flickered in his chest as the Drekavac turned tail and ran back into the woods. He took a moment to catch his breath, adrenaline taking over and making him follow. Ilya gripped at his injured shoulder, cursing his oath to the sun. Her acolytes weren't allowed to use their healing magics for themselves, thus he was forced to live with this excruciating pain. He couldn't think beyond his singular task, following after the beast as it limped along. He was determined to finish the job. The creature was fast, but the frequency of inky black puddles left in its wake told him it was slowing down. Hours passed as he followed it, the pain of his arm dulling to a throb he could shove to the back of his mind. His throat was raw from how long he'd been jogging after the creature, drool gathering in his mouth from the exertion. His lungs burned, and he'd been on the verge of collapse ages ago, but he couldn't let it go now. His father once told him a tale of how humans used to hunt the great megafauna of the past by following them for hours on end, not letting up until the animal grew too exhausted to fight back. Ilya hoped his ancient ancestors were proud of him for employing the same tactics. The indigo light of dawn began its slow creep into the woods as the Drekavac rushed into the mouth of a nearby cavern nestled into the side of the mountains. It swallowed the creature whole, enveloping it in darkness. Ilya pressed on, leaning against the mouth of the cave to catch his breath. Sweat poured down his back and soaked through his curly hair, sticking to his face as he stumbled forward. The growing dawn light revealed the cavern was shallow, a few feet deep at most. Finally, the furry, inky form collapsed on its side and heaved desperate breaths. Ilya loomed over the Drekavac, watching it curiously, bleached bone mask staring at him. It let out a mournful whine before it laid flat, resigned to its fate. Indigo turned purple behind Ilya as the light began to grow, and it allowed him to properly take the creature in. It was very thin, the bulk of its form coming from its soaked fur. He glanced at both injured legs and spotted bone sticking out of the back one. That man from town had done a serious number for how mangled it was. Ilya felt sorry for this animal. Despite terrorizing Vilak for months, laid out in front of him, literally on its last limb, he couldn't muster enough anger. Every breath it took came out as a whimper, and even in its weakened state it was inching away from the coming sunlight. He heaved a deep sigh. Mayor Ivan would have his head if he knew what Ilya was about to do.